Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Context Machine. This is episode 608. I'm Brian Chaffin.
And I'm Jeff Gamet. Hey, check us out at our new home, which isn't quite as new as it used to be, but the carpet still has that new carpet smell. Contextmachine.io.
Carpets are listen, man. You know, when I grew up, Jeff, I grew up with carpet. There was carpet in my bathroom because it was a 70s house.
Yeah, what was up with that?
That's so disgusting. There was carpet. Our kitchen was carpet. It was carpeted. Why?
Yeah, at least our kitchen wasn't carpeted. But yeah, why?
So I've got carpet in my current place. I've got carpet again. There's a lot of California homes that are not carpeted. And I mean, like in Texas, growing up in Texas, living most of my life. Well, is it most of my life at this point? I think it's most of my life in Texas. I feel like there's a lot of carpeting in Texas. I feel like there's less carpeting here, and I've just come to really appreciate how gross carpets are.
I'm with you. I love hardwood floors and
tile floors,
yeah.
Real tile floors, especially cement floors. There was a house I was looking at in Texas a long time ago. That was the dining room, a large dining room area, and I think maybe the kitchen had a scored and stained concrete floor.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, so a little design scored into it, and it was all stained, and it was kind of like a mottled maroon. I think it was really, really lovely. But yeah, carpets. So new carpet smell. That's not necessary. You can use contextmachine.io to reach out to us. You can find us on Post and Mastodon at Context Machine.
Yes, you can. Tell us all about your carpets.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about carpets? If you love your carpets, by the way, more power to you. A carpet in a bathroom.
I always thought that was weird. I remember, I think it was a relative, shag carpet in the bathroom, and then a shag toilet seat cover.
Of course, got matching. The drapes have to match the carpets.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was just gross. I also got in trouble once as a kid.
I can't wait to see where this goes. Yes.
So, my parents had a shag rake because, you have shag carpet. You have to rake the carpet.
Okay. I've never raked shag carpet, but okay.
It's the weirdest thing. But if you're not raking it all the time, you end up with what I like to call game trails.
Sure.
Through the carpet because everyone walks the same path.
Right.
And and so along one of the game trails that eventually was in our carpet, regardless of using the rake, I thought, the shag on the edges looks like it's grown and it's gotten too tall. So I went and got scissors and started trimming it. And my mom caught me.
I bet she was not happy.
No, surprisingly, she was not happy.
Huh.
Here I am trying to provide proper grooming services for this carpet.
Which was thoughtful of you.
Right? And no, I was not to be trimming the shag carpet.
Well, interesting. It's a interesting thing there. So Jeff Gamet, first of all, you are a trooper. You are hopefully on the downswing of a sinus infection.
Well, I'm taking my amoxicillin and I believe, based on the empirical evidence I've been able to collect in Kleenexes, that I am improving.
Okay, that's good. My point, though, is that you're a trooper for recording today.
Well, how could I possibly miss out on an opportunity to hang out with you?
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. I don't envy anyone having to wrestle with that because,
Right.
Yay me.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, Brian, it is all about you.
It is all about me. Speaking of all about me, I posted a couple things on my blog. Believe it or not, apparently I sometimes still post on my blog, geektells.com.
Wait, hold on. I need to get my pen and paper out so I can write that down. Okay, tell it to me again.
Geek tells TELS, yes.
S
.com.
.com. Got it.
I love it. Fully in action. I didn't even do it this time. This is great. I approve this message.
Top men.
Absolutely. So anyway, I posted a couple of espresso accessory reviews. I posted something on this magnetic collar I've got that's called like a dosing funnel. It's not called like a dosing funnel. It's called a dosing funnel. But it's this collar.
Okay. So you've lost me. Can you explain to me what these things are? And everyone, just so you know, yes, I often do the straight man thing so that Brian can explain something. In this case, I literally have no idea what he's talking about because I am not a coffee drinker.
Fair. You drink milk of magnesia.
Hey. I have moved on to oat milk.
Oh, oat milk chais?
Oat milk chai. Today I did an oat milk London fog.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
And for those of you that don't know what a London fog is, it's Earl Grey tea with some steamed milk, or in my case, steamed oat milk, and vanilla.
Oh, I actually thought that it was simply another tea blend. So I learned something too. All right. So this dosing funnel, the one that I like so much is it's got magnets. Kind of reminds me a little bit of how like Apple's done like some really, really cool things with magnets that make our experience.
So you have a MagSafe coffee maker.
Yes, sort of.
Okay.
So the dosing funnel fits on my portafilter. The portafilter is on an espresso machine. That's where you put your ground coffee and you tamp it down. That's in the portafilter basket. The portafilter itself is the thing with the handle. It's got the circle, and the basket goes inside the portafilter itself. The dosing funnel is this magnetic collar that sits on top of and the edge of my portafilter, so that it essentially makes a wider mouth for grinding espresso into it.
Oh, so you don't end up with the coffee powder.
Yeah, the
falling outside of the cup.
Ground coffee, yeah,
or coffee ground. Coffee ground.
If you don't do espresso, none of this. I mean, just maybe skip ahead or something. But if you grind espresso, but you're grinding it into like some kind of like basket. Like for instance, the first real espresso grinder I had was the Rocky, and now I can't even remember what it's called.
The Balboa.
It wasn't the no. It is the Silva. Anyway, the first real coffee grinder I had had a plastic receptacle that, like literally slid into the grinder, and then, all the ground coffee falls into this container, and then you pour it out into your portafilter from the container. So you don't get the mess. But
okay,
a lot of the higher end machines, just like in a higher end coffee grinders, just like in a coffee shop, you will grind directly into your portafilter basket. And that's where you can end up getting a real mess. And I was certainly getting a real mess, which is why I went looking for some kind of solution. Ended up finding this magnetic dosing funnel that, I love this thing because the magnets are like the perfect. They're just exactly strong enough to hold this thing into place without like making it a hassle to put on or put off. It'll like, when you put it down, it snicks right into place. It's lovely. I love this thing. It's $55 and it makes my counters, I don't know, like 1% as dirty, messy. 1% as much of a hassle to clean.
All right. So that's very cool. And I'm very excited for you. And I have a question for you, though, because it sounds like this whole process of making your espresso, like this is like a really involved thing, like all this equipment and how everything goes together and getting the right stuff. And then going through all the steps to actually make what's like a small cup of coffee. I mean, is this just like a tedious thing, or is there more to it? Like I'm generally curious, because just listening to you describe what you're doing, it makes me have a much greater appreciation for how easy it is for me to either throw some tea into the little tea strainer cup and or take a tea bag and throw it in a cup. And I'm done. It's
funny, kind of funny that you should ask, because I got a comment. I posted a second review on a different product. It's called a tamper station, but basically it's a cylinder that essentially acts as a leveling platform on which to tamp your grinds into the hard puck that an espresso machine needs. And like, so I called the dosing funnel my favorite accessory, and it is because it makes everything so much less messy. I call the tamper station my second favorite accessory, because it makes it so much easier to get a consistent puck, which means that my espresso pool is going to be more consistent. And then I'm going to do a third one on this other device that essentially reduces what's called channeling, which is like how the water flows through your puck of grinds. And that's not the point. The point is, on the second review that I posted, I had someone comment, "Geez, you must really like your coffee," which was a super passive aggressive slap down, and I am here for it.
Well, what if? Okay, I totally get it. It sounds like that's what happened. But what if the problem with the complexity of human communication and losing so much when it ends up in writing? What if what they're really saying is, "Boy, you must really like your coffee." Like not in a passive aggressive way, but like, "Wow, you're someone that really likes coffee." That's cool.
I took it as implied criticism that I'm a little obsessive, and I completely.
Well, it is on the internet, so it probably is implied criticism.
But I'm not. I mean, like, I'm completely okay with it. Like, I got it coming. Had it coming for sure. And I get anyone who thinks that I'm a weirdo for doing all this stuff, and for, like ranking my espresso accessories. And, I have to add, the funny thing, one of the funny things to me is that real espresso snobs look down their nose at me because I'm taking this glorious espresso that I'm pulling, and I'm plopping it into a glass of frozen milk because I don't want to water it down with ice cubes and flavoring. And real espresso snobs, they want to drink their espresso straight, and that's great. So my point is that, yeah, I know that I'm weird. And the thing that really answers your question is, espresso for me has become a bit of a ritual, and it's the process that I enjoy. It's the tinkering that I enjoy. It's the meticulous way in which you have to try to do the same thing every time to get a consistent pull so that you're getting a consistent drink. I enjoy doing all that. And the way this really ties to our show, Jeff, is that like, this is the same way that I used to tinker with my Mac 20 years ago.
Yeah, I remember doing that too. Just, yeah, the whole tinkering with the Mac thing, it was a process, but yeah, it was almost like a ritual too. Going out and searching and researching to find the right plug-in card or whatever the thing was.
Let's go back further. Control panels and extensions.
Control panels. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was, and that like this, and we don't have to do that anymore, right? Like
we don't have to do that anymore. But now that you're saying this, I realize I have gone through this process where I figured out the tools that I need to so I guess it's a form of tinkering to make everything that I do work as well for me, as efficient for me as it can. And it's been a process just finding all the right utilities to put on my Mac that make it my Mac and make it work the way I want it to. And it's a process.
I don't know how much of this is age. Like, as we're getting older, we don't want to fool with this stuff anymore. And I found something else to fool with. Or if it's simply because computers under Microsoft today, and certainly under Apple today, computers have just become so much more reliable and ordinary.
Well, I think they're much closer to Steve Jobs' original vision for the Macintosh, which was computer as an appliance.
Yeah. Okay, fair. And certainly I think Linux users probably still, there's some aspect of the tinkering for Linux users that's still there. And maybe
I think that's a big thing, for a lot of Linux users,
and for gamers too, who are doing their own PCs at home, like they're making their own PCs, or maybe they're like constantly looking for the best video cards to power their games, that sort of thing. That I think there's a level of tinkering too, and I think to like further sort of like draw the lines through the years, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe even before the 50s, I don't really know I certainly don't know as much about car culture before the 50s, but in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and through the 80s with the older cars, where a lot of people worked on cars in their garage or their yards. Mm-hmm. That's where people tinkered, and I'm not saying that everybody's becoming an espresso snob today, because that's certainly not the case. But I know that the tinkering, the process, the ritual of trying to get the right drinks is a big part of why I enjoy it so much.
It's part of your Zen.
It is part of my Zen.
That's awesome.
And I think it's like, even when the iPhone was new, I think there was still a lot of tinkering going on. Because you had to tinker with it to.
We were jailbreaking. That was like the ultimate tinkering for the iPhone.
Yeah. And again, I don't know how much of that is just age. I mean, I want to be cautious about about the notion of just assuming that no one tinkers, because, I mean,
I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's some people have found whatever it is that they like, just like getting down into that minutia and experimenting and changing and finding just the right thing for whatever it is for them. Excuse me. And for you and me, it used to be doing that with our Macs, and now for you, it's doing it with your espresso machine, and
pens.
And I'd say,
I think pens occupy the pens and sealing wax. I think that probably occupies some of the same mind place too. Heart place.
Yeah. Pens. Yep. I'm with you on that. Oh, Brian, big tinker place for the, or tinker space, I guess, for people in the tech community. Keyboards.
Yeah, that's true. Keyboards have become a thing you can fiddle with, or at the very least experiment with.
Yeah, you go in and find what frame you want, and then you decide on what key switches you want, and then what types of keys, and then what's the correct type of lube to put on the switches, and are you doing sound dampening? I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and that's like I'm actually kind of afraid about how far I could get into that space because I could see me going super deep into
I can too. Yeah.
Custom keyboard tinkering.
I mean, I can see you going deep into that. I don't have. It's something I could also enjoy, but don't have the mental space for it right now. But I can see you doing it, and you tinker with Legos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of people, they're like, well, why buy the kits? Because that's like cheating. Well, no, you learn new techniques with the kits. Excuse me. But then the thing is, you've got a kit and you look at it and you've built it. And now you do just the same thing that you do with your espresso machine, or people that are into their computer keyboards do, or people that are into cars do. And it's like, this part right here, if I do this other thing, it's going to make the whole thing so much better. And so yes, I have a lot of kits that I have built, but I've also done a lot of modding and then designing my own stuff.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's I'm not building just kits and then looking at them and saying I'm done. No, I'll build, and then sometimes I'll like immediately disassemble the whole thing and then rebuild it again because now I have a different perspective on it. And then I start looking at it and finding the things where it could be better. And then I start modding these kits.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Getting back to you talking about Steve's 80s vision of the computer as an appliance, it's not just the hardware. Like the hardware today on the Mac is, there are very few, most of the time we can't even replace our own hard drive anymore.
Right.
And those kinds of upgrades were routine for a lot of Mac users, not just the, really tech savvy nerds and geeks and big fans of messing with hardware. Like a lot of people would upgrade their hardware or upgrade their RAM.
Yeah, I'm betting you used to do the same thing I did, which is you get a new Mac, but at the same time, you're already researching what hard drive upgrade, what RAM upgrades you're going to put into this thing.
Yeah, usually the RAM usually arrived before my new Mac did.
Same, yeah. And I would do that thing where I'd order the Mac that had the processor that I wanted, and everything else is the bare minimum.
You were Transintel. It's like Trans International, but they call themselves Transintel.
Oh yeah,
right. They usually had for years they usually had the best RAM prices. And I
forgot about them.
I would pour over their pricing list all the time and compare it to at some point, Otherworld Computing, OWC, which is MacSales.com, and they're still around. For a long time, they started having the best RAM prices. And like I said, I would usually have the RAM would usually arrive at my house before I could get before the new Mac would arrive. Same thing with the hard drive.
Yep.
And those days are gone. We don't do those things anymore. Somewhere in between, mostly and in part, because we can't.
Yeah. But there's other things that we're doing now that that are part of the mod process or customization process. Because now it's like, okay, well, what keyboard, what pointing device do I want to use? What kind of display do I want to add to my computer? Am I adding external storage? What does that look like? Am I doing things with my network to improve overall network performance? And and then there's people that are doing stuff like setting up a Pi hole. And for those of you that don't know what that is, Raspberry Pi, and it acts like a port manager firewall, basically. And so yeah, well, really a firewall. And then you just have this little Raspberry Pi, and you totally custom configure what data gets to come in and go out of your network. And yeah, so there, Brian, I think there's still a lot of places that we're tinkering with our Apple technology. It's just not happening inside the case anymore.
Well, and it's also not happening inside the software. Like we already mentioned that, there used to be that like control panels and extensions were like all the rage. But do you remember when we could
Extension Manager?
Yes, and what was the third party the product that was so key to that?
Oh my God, I can picture it right now, watching everything march across the bottom of my screen.
Yeah.
And the first thing that popped up was and people right now are yelling to tell us what it is. Oh my God, why can I not remember the name of the
something from Cassidy and Green, manager.
Wasn't it? Might have been.
The point is that those were all things, and then like for a very brief while, we could even, heaven forfend, have a theme. And it's one of the first things that Steve Jobs killed.
I missed that.
When he came back, it's one of the first things he killed, and it was really frustrating because the theme seems so exciting. This ability to customize, to tinker with the way our Mac looked, and the fact that people could, like other people could make their own themes. That was so exciting. All of those things are gone now, and we don't even think about them. We don't think about all those ways of customizing. Like at this point, the biggest customizations we're doing of our Macs are like, is it dark theme or the normal theme?
Yeah, or going and finding a different screensaver. Sure,
Screensavers, LOL. So yeah, when that all of these thoughts sort of like smacked me on the head when this person commented that on my blog. Geez, you must really like your coffee, and it just really kind of hit me how much, in fact, I do enjoy that process. I enjoy the process, and it really does occupy the same kind of space that tinkering with my Mac would have occupied in an earlier age, and I think that I don't know, it's interesting to me. I'd love to hear what people think. Well, like.
Same.
What do you tinker with anything today? Do you still tinker with your Mac? Have you, like, yes, you're a Mac person, but now you have, a PC that you tinker with, or a Linux box that you tinker with? Are you tinkering with something else? Have you actually
Raspberry Pi?
A Raspberry? Excellent example.
Okay, here's my Raspberry Pi tinker project from a couple years ago. I took one of my Raspberry Pis, because once you get one, you end up with more. And took an old hard drive that I had sitting around and set up this Raspberry Pi to be a Plex server. And it's right here on the shelf, and it just chugs away. And so I've got a Plex server sitting here, and instead of running it on an old Mac, I'm running it on a Raspberry Pi, and it runs great.
For there was a period of time where I was also tinkering with Bitcoin mining.
I remember that.
That was absolutely the same headspace as tinkering with any kind of computer. Trying to get every ounce of power you could out of them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes.
Tinkering that I do a lot, and I know a lot of other people are doing a lot of too. And it's the automation space, whether it's working with shortcuts on Mac OS or iOS, or with something like Zapier, or if this then that, and
just HomeKit stuff in general.
Like HomeKit stuff in general,
or the A Lady or whatever.
Yeah, whatever your smart platform of choice is. So that whole automation space, I think that is very much a tinker space right now.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Well, what is your tinker space? Reach out to us. Post, Mastodon, Gigtails.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What is it? Context Machine.
Context Machine.
You can reach out to me too, but you can reach out to us.
Brian won't answer, but
I will if it's post. But contextmachine.io.
No, I meant on Mastodon.
What's your tinker? Because is it cooking? I'm sure that there are a lot of people whose tinkering headspace, whose tinkering heart space is cooking.
Yeah. Oh, totally random and spontaneous plug for someone else. Patrice Brendamore, she does a podcast called Foodie Flashback, which is basically about tinkering with food, and she just interviews people about different food things, and it totally falls into that tinker space. I better include a link to that in the show notes.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, there you go.
See, what's this other thing we had to mention, Jeff? You had a sort of like a PSA.
Yeah, which actually coincidentally ties into the IFT thing. All right, so the short version is with Twitter basically being dead and me liking to automate things to make my life easier. When I post to Instagram, I like it to auto post to whatever other social platform I'm using, which used to be Twitter. Now it's Mastodon. And trying to find an elegant way to do that was proving to be very frustrating. And then I found a walkthrough that someone wrote. It's on a blog called Dead Journal. But anyhow, it's this really great walkthrough that shows how to take advantage of the built-in make your own app sort of thing that's in Mastodon, and then using webhooks in if this then that, and linking all that together. And by doing that, I can now post onto Instagram and then have it automatically post onto Mastodon by linking webhooks into that little Mastodon app that I created, which is basically fill in some blanks and a couple checkboxes and then click a button. And now it just works. And it's super slick.
I'm assuming that you start with some kind of search on Mastodon.
I'm going to call your mom and tell her how you're acting.
Listen, it's your fault that you keep me as a friend.
You're right. That is on me. That is all on me. Yep. And yet here we are. And yes, I love you.
I love you too, brother. I'm glad you found that. And I'm glad that you actually were able to tell other people about it too.
Yeah, it's super slick, and I'd experimented with a few other things like services that are already built, and it just there just wasn't anything that was elegant and reliable. And then I found this, and I'm like, holy crap! This is actually really easy and very straightforward. And I'll make sure there's a link to this post that I found in our show notes, so that if you want to post from Instagram to Mastodon, but really, you can set it up so you can cross post from basically anything through IFT to Mastodon. It just so happens that I chose Instagram as my starting point.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Jeff, thank you for
Brian,
allowing me to delve into tinkering.
Oh, sure. That was a lot of fun.
Boy, I sneezed, but I was able to mute. That was a big sneeze.
Yeah, and I would usually cover for you, but I was drinking some water so that I wouldn't start coughing uncontrollably.
Oh, yeah.
We had bad timing on that one.
Well, you know what? Part of that is because you are recording with the sinus infection, which I very much appreciate. I bet you all of our other listeners also appreciate it.
Yeah, my left eyeball really hurts right now.
It sucks, man. Well, if that's the case,
but I'm not going to complain.
Let's do this. Technically, I think you've already complained. That's this week's Context Machine. If you have anything to comment on, add, or question, you can write us at contextmachine.io. You can find us on Post and Post.news and Mastodon at Context Machine. Our bandwidth is provided by CacheFly. Thank you to CacheFly. The bass was recorded by Dr. Boom, just for us. That's all for this week, Jeff.
Oh, that's awesome. And is it really complaining if I'm just simply stating a fact?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Oh, all right then.